Game Week 27 predictions. We are certainly back in the usual setup. I've got this mug next to me. How you doing?
Oh, I can't believe that. But you know what? It's never happened before, Theo.
What's never happened?
Sharky, 5 points. Thogden, 5 points. And Thogdad, 5 points.
Wow, we've never all drawn.
It's a score draw, Theo.
Unbelievable. It's going to come down to this week, so we need a big guest to keep it up. And we have GBFC, the Chelsea fan. How are we doing, son?
It's been a while, mate. I think it was probably about 2 years ago since the last time I was on. Or did I go on last season? I don't remember, but it's very good to be back. Thank you for asking me to be on, mate.
And this weekend, the first game is a Saturday 3 p.m. Kickstart us.
Newcastle United against Wolverhampton Wanderers, 10th against 9th. It's
Yes.
a mid-table clash. And did you know, Theo, this is the most drawn fixture in the Premier League? Theo, at the Emirates last week, Newcastle, men against boys, they were terrible against Arsenal.
4-1.
Apart from the crowd, the Newcastle fans came down in their numbers, shirts off, made a lot of noise, but the team let them down.
Well, they need a response then, Dan, because at home, back-to-back, they haven't won against Bournemouth or Luton. 2-2-4-4. They need something, Dad. Well, let's go over to Wolves, Dad, because that certainly is a fortress. Even away from home, I think they've won the last 3 games. They've not conceded in 225 minutes of football. It's unbelievable.
Well, they got a narrow victory last time out, but they do that, don't they? They're typically a 1-0 team. Having said that, they've won 6 of the last 9. I think they're playing better football than Newcastle.
We can say lovely things about Wolves and terrible things about Newcastle, as we've done so far in this video, but my score prediction will be different, because football is a funny old game, guys, and I think the Geordies are going to win 2-1 with Anthony Gordon scoring. What about
That
you?
is probably what the bookies think, Theo, but I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think Pablo Sarabia will bag another.
Let's go over to George. How are we doing, son?
I think Newcastle are going to win this one at home. This is one of them games where Newcastle have got to get the result. Wolves have, as you said, they've been very good this season. They beat Chelsea twice as well, which is, I don't know if that's embarrassing or credit to them. We'll give them the credit. But I do think Newcastle are going to start to find St James Park form, and I'm saying 2-1 Newcastle win.
Tottenham Hotspur against Crystal Palace is 5th against 17th. It's North London against South London, Theo, and Tottenham Hotspur are rested. But you know what? The last 37 games they've played in, they've scored a goal.
What a fact that is. Is there any other team that have done that for that long?
Theo, I should have said that's a Thogdad fact. We could have had the music and
I
everything.
know.
I forgot. I really bottled it. I'm sorry.
You've had a
lad.
shocker. Well, Tottenham have had a lot of time to think about their loss to Wolves at home, because they've had no cups to play, a lot of time on the training ground working on sharpness, but they haven't played football. How will that affect them?
Well, I think it will do good for them, Theo, because they had some indifferent form recently and now they're rested.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace last week smashed Burnley, didn't they, Theo? Brownhill sent off. But this is a different proposition. But do you know the last time that Crystal Palace won away at Spurs?
No, I don't. I can't imagine in my lifetime, I don't think.
Correct, Theo. 1997. You were not born.
Well, now's the time. With the new manager bounce, Oliver Glasner with T90s on and the Canada Goose jacket, looking like a true Frankfurt lad. Now, he brought European trophies to that city, and people are underestimating how good he is. But this is a different fixture. It's much harder. I just can't see him getting results.
I'm going to go for Spurs 2, Crystal Palace 1.
One thing going for Spurs is that Heung-min Son will be fired up because he's got 8 goal contributions in 9 head-to-heads. But there will be no Richarlison or Pedro Porro. And in the training videos, you can actually see that they lined up with Werner and Kulusevski. That front 3 should do enough damage for them to win 2-0. That's my score prediction. Over to GB.
I think Palace are going to be on a little bit of a bounce, you know. I know that they've obviously got a lot of their key players out. I think Mark Guehi's now a doubt for the Euros as well, which is dodgy for England as well. Palace are one of them teams right now that you kind of just expect to beat. Wow. And I think that Spurs will be Spursy enough to make that mistake and lose 2-1.
Nottingham Forest against Liverpool is 17th against first. It's a team struggling for survival against the champions of the Carabao Cup. Well done, Liverpool. But you know what, Theo? I want to do a proper Thogdad fact.
Here we go. Get the music out. Come on!
Oh, beautiful music. The last 13 times Nottingham Forest have played Liverpool at home, they've won 6, drawn 7, and lost none. That is a record, Theo, and that's a Thogdad fact.
Jurgen Klopp, in his last ever game at the City Ground, can break one more record.
He can, Theo.
Wow.
And it's a record that he
This is
must
a big
really
game.
thrive for. But let's talk about Liverpool, Theo,
Okay,
because
fine.
Carabao Cup champions, what do you think of that?
I think they're brilliant. And to do it with the team that they did.
Yeah.
Look at the bench. It was all academy players. At right back, Conor Bradley. People think he's a kid. He's actually 20 years old and played at Bolton last year. And I really think we had a part in his development. And Nottingham Forest recently, they just lost to Casemiro's goal, Manchester United 1-0. The time before that was 4-2 against Aston Villa. Some tough results. They need a bounce back with Nuno Espirito Santo.
So I'm going to go Forest 1, Liverpool 2.
I think The Forest boys are going to get a 2-2 draw. The City ground chance will be out. The record will continue.
Yeah. Jurgen Klopp, I think, is the best manager in the world. The way that everyone's just kind of like taking that, right, we've got to be all together right now. We have got to win all of these trophies. There's a quadruple up for grabs. Klopp's leaving. And they can cement themselves in football folklore, not just Liverpool folklore. And I don't see that changing in this game. I think they will comfortably win 3-1.
Brentford against Chelsea, 16th against 11th. It's yet another London derby, Theo. And this is a really hard one to call because Brentford's record against Chelsea, last 5 games, 1-1, drawn 1, lost 3 Chelsea. So, can they do it?
Well, earlier on, Brentford beat Chelsea 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. And my God, do they need a result now? Because if Thomas Frank doesn't win, they're going to be dragged into a relegation scrap. That's the truth of it.
You look at Chelsea, they've had a busy time in the Cup. They lost that Carabao Cup, and they should have won that, shouldn't they?
Yeah, but what a bit of character. Conor Gallagher made up for his misses at Wembley with that winner against Leeds. And I know they're a championship side, but they're flying. They'll probably be back in the Premier League next year. Here's the problem for Chelsea. Of the 13 away games they've had this season, 10 of them, both teams have scored. And I think it will happen again. Will Chelsea outscore them is the real question.
Yes, they will, in my opinion, Theo. Brentford are conceding too many goals. It's too open. It's great for the neutral, but it's not great for Brentford. They need to get a scrappy win from somewhere. I'm going Brentford 1, Chelsea 2.
And I've got a feeling we're all going to predict this, because I'm going for the same. But if Brentford did pull something off like they really need, it would be the first time they get a double over their rivals since 1938.
Okay, it's going to be Brentford 1, Chelsea 2. And Chelsea are they're going to play all right in this game. It's going to be competitive.
Why do you not think Batman and Robin, Malpai and Ivan Toney, are they not going to cause some issues? They're not going to get under your skin.
Yeah, they're going to cause some issues. That's why they're going to score. But they're going to score an equaliser just before half-time, and you'd think that maybe it's a good time to score, but it won't be. I think Pochettino is going to have a little half-time team talk. Chelsea are going to be very stubborn in the second half, and we're going to score a counter-attacking goal to win the game.
Everton against West Ham United is 15th against 8th, but Theo, it's been a good week for Everton. Their points deduction reduced from 10 to 6, and then Branthwaite last week. What a goal.
Amazing finish, Dad. I think Everton need to kick on. They've had 9 games without a win. They've now got 4 points back in the Premier League table. Will that be that little bit of motivation that they need to beat West Ham at home?
Well, I noticed 5 of the last 6 games have been draws, Theo, so they're not losing. And it's the old Sean Dyche thing. We used to see this at Burnley, didn't we? They're very good at getting 1-1 draws, 0-0s, 1-0s.
Well, if they're going to turn up, they need their striker too, because DCL has now got a goal drought of 20 games, 0 goals.
Yes. Talking of droughts, there, West Ham had 3 draws and then 3 defeats, and then they smashed it. Jared Bowen, first hat-trick in senior football.
It's unbelievable what he's doing.
But I reckon there'll be less goals in this game, Theo. A 1-1 draw.
I agree with you, Dad. 1-1 draw. Let's go over to GB.
I think for that reason, mate, I think there's a big hangover on Merseyside. I think they're going to be celebrating that 4 points. Like, that's a win and a draw in one go for free, basically. Yeah. So I think as a result of that, it's going to be a tough one. And I think West Ham, I watched them against Brentford. I thought they were very, very good. Away from home, it could be a bit more tough, but I think West Ham are going to sneak it 1-0. I think Jared Bowen is scoring a worldie.
Fulham against Brighton and Hove Albion is 12th against 7th. It is the Cottagers against the Hipsters there. I know they hate it when I say
They've got some nutty fans. You're doing them dirty.
They have, but Fulham there, what a win away at Old Trafford. We thought Harry Maguire had got the equaliser.
97th minute winner, Dad. That is historic, and they needed the points.
What's going to happen here?
I don't know. I just think they'll have enough character to go back home to the Cottage and beat Brighton.
1-1 for me.
Will this be the week that Brighton just decide to turn up and Mitoma and Adringa get back in the team and start firing? Evan Ferguson, we haven't heard much of him in a while. I don't think it will be, actually. The Zerbi, I'm sorry, but Fulham are going to win this. It's going to be about Marco Silva. 2-1 win.
Do you know what? I've been impressed with Fulham a few times this season when I watched them play. I think they know how to dig in. I think when they're on their day, they do create a lot of good chances as well. And I think they're going to be buoyed by that result last week. You go to Old Trafford and you win. It doesn't matter how good or bad that United team is. That is a special result for any club. Fulham are going to win 2-1. I think it's going to be a good, entertaining game of football, this one.
Luton Town against Aston Villa, 18th against 4th. It's a team battling for survival against a team trying to get into the Champions League. Now, let's talk about Luton, Theo. Conceded 10 goals in 2 games, lost 3 in a row in the Premier League. Looking a bit grim.
6-2, Man City at home. Haaland, 4 goals. De Bruyne with the first 3 assists, was it?
First 4 assists, Theo.
Wow.
Haaland got 5 goals.
Haaland got 5 goals?
He got 5 goals.
It's
I
so
was
much I can't
watching
even
that
keep up.
game with a smile on my boat race because that man is absolutely incredible.
Dad, I wouldn't smile when you watch destruction. Kenilworth Road again. How many goals will they concede to Aston Villa?
Well, there's a man I want to talk to. He scored 2 goals last week. He's not talked enough about. Douglas Luiz, Theo.
Yeah, what a player. Brace. Luton 1, Aston Villa 3.
I think it's going to be 2-1 to Aston Villa. But my question to you, Theo, Aston Villa, Champions League or not?
Ooh, it's a good question. They're currently 4th. They're back on fire. Look, take every game as it comes.
Yeah.
You've got to remember there's an extra space now in the Champions League because they're changing the format. I think Villa get in.
I mean, I don't think they're going to lose 6-2, but they could. Do you know what I mean? Villa are that team that could just go there and do the same kind of thing that City
You can
done.
see anything.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a bit of a crazy score. I think Villa are going to win 4-3.
Burnley against AFC Bournemouth is 19th against 14th. It's Lancashire against the South Coast. But Burnley, Theo, they've got the worst home record in the league. They've got the worst form over the last 5 games. Brownhill sent off last week. They're getting smashed wherever they go.
And losing Brownhill in this game is actually underestimated because he's such a useful workhorse in the midfield. So to bring someone else in to cover his job in the position that they're in, Dad, I'm losing hope here. The one glimpse of hope is they're playing a Bournemouth team that right now haven't won in 6. They've got Dominic Solanke, who's probably not going to start. Maybe comes off the bench, but he's slightly injured. If there's ever a time to beat Ndoni Iraola's team, it's now.
Theo, it's been a season of 3/3, hasn't it, for Bournemouth? Terrible start, brilliant second third.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, I think it's the last 7 games, actually, they are winless. But only lost 1-0 to Man City. I think they're playing better football than Burnley. And for that reason, Theo, it's going to be Burnley 1, Bournemouth 2.
I can't see Bournemouth winning here. Neither can I see Burnley. It's a 1-1 draw. Come on, Trafford.
Every week it's kind of like, well, if we don't do it now, then what's the point in turning up next week kind of thing. And like you said, Solanke's out. Bournemouth, they had that brilliant run and then it's kind of just like flattened off a little bit. I think Burnley are going to get a result here. I think they're going to win 1-0.
Manchester City against Manchester United, 2nd against 6th. It's the Manchester derby. It's blue against red. It's Salford against Manchester. Theo, this is one of the biggest games in the world of football.
Yeah, it's a historic football match, but never have I gone into it thinking so one way.
Yeah.
Manchester City, under every single league that they're entered into, they win right now. The whole team looks ready to go. Haaland, De Bruyne behind him, on fire. Rodri's on fire as usual. Maybe that song will be sung in the stands when they get their 5th goal of the game. Who knows? But Manchester United, they've just lost to a 97th minute winner at home to Fulham. Terrible result. But it looked like before then they were starting to gain some form.
That is true. They won 4 in a row. And as you say, as the cliche goes, Theo, football is a funny old game.
Yeah.
And Manchester derbies sometimes throw out some real surprises.
Well, Pep Guardiola is unbelievable at getting results, and he will not fall here. It's going to be a 2-0 win, comfortable, clean sheet. Manchester United, nothing.
Manchester City 3, Manchester United 1.
Wow.
All season long, I've been watching Man United and thinking, how on earth are you so far ahead of Chelsea?
Yeah.
Like, we're not very... I watch them and I'm like, you are not very good either, and if not worse. I do think City, at this stage in the season, it's the end of February, they're turning it on. I think City are going to win 4-1.
Wow.
I think Haaland is bagging another hat-trick.
And finally, Sheffield United against Arsenal, 20th against 3rd. It's 13 points, Theo, against 58 points.
Wow.
That is the gulf between these teams.
How is there a team, well, there's 2 teams, on 13 points at this point in the season? There is such a difference in quality between the best and the worst. It's unbelievable.
Sheffield United have got the worst defensive home record in the league, so you've got to bet on Arsenal scoring 3 or 4 goals. And the way Arsenal are playing, like I said, I saw them last week against Newcastle. They were simply superb there. They didn't have a weak player in the team.
Yeah, no, I don't think they score 2 or 3 goals in this game, Arsenal, you know.
You're going to go for a big one, aren't you?
I think they score 4 or 5.
Yes.
I think they batter them. I can only predict a 4-0 win. Martinelli will finally score in the Premier League. It's taken a while for him to do it.
And you know what, Theo? 60 million down the drain. Kai Havertz scores again. Sheffield United 0, Arsenal 3. And over to a man who's in the tropical rainforest by a volcano drinking a coconut shake. I'm not jealous, mate. George.
Sheffield United conceding goals for fun. I don't know what they're doing. I think it's been an embarrassment, really, for the club, not for the fans or the players or anything. I just blame the club for not investing properly in the squad.
Yeah.
And Arsenal have hit form at the right time, so this couldn't be a worse fixture for them. So I'm going to say 3-0 Arsenal.
What a legend. Thog Dad, it's great to be back with you. Go watch his reaction to my charity match highlights, my debut. See you all in a bit. Bye-bye.
See ya.